Alibi, folks, alibi. I know we started July 4th with a doggone alibi, but it had to be done. So I got to thinking as I finished up the video that I better actually research a couple of things before I just put this out there. Because, your boy might be a little too casual. And I wanted to make sure that my fandom and the community fandom in general is informed. So it turns out that I've been calling it the Viper rifle this whole time, when in fact I've done a video of this before, the RDT-7. Uh, Too many monster zeros have like rotted my memory. Anywho, this is the Grime option in the store. Okay, this is the Grime option. Highly uh, it's highly washed version of the gray, right? This is what's in the store. And when this came to me, I was kind of confused as to which one, the options and such, because I didn't really look it up. But when I looked up, I noticed that there was only two options. So I was like, okay, well, which shade of gray is it? Which is the one that's actually being sold in the store, and which is not? Well, I know for a fact that this is Grime is, and I can tell you after having talked to Kuya Jan. Kuya Jan said the dark gray one was not as popular, so they're making it so that it's more like this, closer to the actual uh, colors of the retro O-ring version. Okay, right here, which is a lighter shade. Right, this is the darker shade of gray. 50 shades of gray. Right. But in this case, just three, but two controversial ones. Because while I like this, and it makes sense for the classified look, because it does have a darker shade of gray for the scarf, right? This would be more appropriate for the retro Viper look. So I guess you can win, and I will, suggest to our good friends over in Top Fun to maybe have this available for this, but in limited quantities. Make it a special edition, limited to only like 25. So that people will be more inclined to get it. Now, not super niche, right? But yeah, this is the one that everybody wants, from my understanding, for the attendees at Joe Fest who had been blessed to see, you know, these and interact with my good friend John. You know what I mean? Over at Tapan Retro Toys 3D. Alright, folks, on to the video. Greetings, folks, and welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Coco Smooth, the casual collector with casual takes. And in this segment of What to Scale Military Action Figures Takes, I am showcasing the Top Fun Retro Toys 3D Viper rifle, retro Viper rifle assortment. Now, I say assortment because it's the same rifle, but there's different paint schemes. I guess this is one with wash. He gave me 3 samples. I bought the one, personally, I bought the one with wood and steel earlier to matte because I thought it looked really good to be more realistic. But if you're going for that throwback GI, OG toy look, then this is the way to go, right? If that's the effect that you want, right? So this got the wash. Now, personally, um, I don't see a point in a wash when you're trying to go with a throwback look, but everybody has different tastes, and that's okay, right? So I have two different models. I have the OG classified Viper to model, right? And he has a darker shade of that rifle, just a slightly, ever so slightly darker shade of gray. 50 shades of gray. In this case, there's just three, right? Or two, one with a wash and one lighter, which is the one I gave for the retro carded Viper, right? And then there's the one I gave for the classified, OG classified one. Um, if you're going for, I guess the problem is, since I do not own uh, an OG Viper. It's been a while from the O-ring line. I could not tell you for a fact if this is the exact shade that it's supposed to be versus, or like which is closer, this one or this one. If I had to guess, I would say the lighter shade. But again, since I have problems with memory, since I might have Mandela affected myself on a couple of things. I couldn't tell you for for a fact which one is the the right the correct shade if you're going for toy accuracy, right? Now, if you're asking me which color I would go with, uh, between the two, if I only got to choose one, I would probably go with the more obnoxious one because what's the it's if we're going throwback, then you go full throwback, not this subdued throwback. However, however, just if that's only for people who want to go for that hardcore throwback look. But what if you did want to be more subtle? Well, this darker shade, ever so slightly darker shade, uh, it kind of makes more sense in the scheme. Look at this, like a lighter rifle would not match his scarf, right? But this darker shade, slightly, ever so slightly darker than this shade, does match this a little better. So, you know what I mean? It's really up to y'all, right? It's all subjective, personal preference. You know what I mean? But it's either that or you guys arm your OG ones with that, or the retro carded guys with this. And while this is not a bad look, problem is we'd already seen this on the other, on many other Joe figures, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't like the part that both Cobra and GI Joe share the same exact weapons. It just doesn't, compute to me, right? So I don't know, folks. Let me know what y'all think. Um, Wash, I guess it's cool if you're trying to go for that more realistic, approach for a color scheme that seems like it would never exist in real life. You know what I mean? But I could be wrong, right? It's either way. You, the customer, are it's your eyes. You have it the way you want it, right? And you just let uh our boys over at Top Fun know, right? You let Kuya Jan know, okay? And don't forget to say salamat po afterwards. But yeah, either who, anywho, yeah, this is a you could this is a good look if you're going for that OG Viper weapon, look. What to me, what's more important is how good that Viper weapon looks, just in general. But for most people, they prefer the paint to be a particular way. Me, I'm just happy that the gosh dang uh, weapon looks so good in general. And personally, and this is just me personally, I went with the wood and steel color scheme. And there's a video to that that you guys got to see at some point. I'm gonna probably have it at the link in the description below, folks. So speaking of what, yeah, what else is on the description below? Uh, the store, the store link is down in the description below, and don't forget to use discount code Coco Smooth, save you some money, 15%. Okay. All right, folks. Well, that is all I got for this segment of 1/12 scale military action figures takes, the uh, Top Fun Retro Toys Retro Viper weapons paint scheme. I am your host, Coco Smooth, the casual collector with casual takes. Have a happy 4th of July, folks. And until the next video, ciao.